Alright, KSI Tommy Fury face-to-face just came out, and I thought this was a perfect opportunity to now talk about the fight, the upcoming fight. That's less than a month away, just a few weeks away. And yeah, KSI is going to be facing off against Tommy Fury. Tommy Fury just came off of a win against Jake Paul, KSI's rival. And yeah, Tommy Fury just is showing that he is the real boxer against all these other like YouTubers. And there's a lot to talk about the face-to-face, but I also want to mainly talk about the matchup, my thoughts on it. Now that we're so close, what do I think the game plan should be? Can KSI actually beat Tommy Fury? We're gonna get into all that and more, but before we get into it, I just want to remind you guys, hit the subscribe button, like, comment, and share. We're trying to hit 20K by the end of the year. You guys are the best fan base in MMA, so I know you guys are gonna help me hit the goal. And yeah, we have a video already talking about the face-to-face between Logan and Dylan Dennis, so go check that out. I released that last week where I recapped some of the things, talked about some of my thoughts on it, and talked about how cringe Logan was. However, this face-to-face was a lot less cringe. I think KSI kind of holds himself a little bit better than Logan Paul, and he's just a lot more relatable. I pointed this out in the last episode where I talked about, you know, Dylan Dennis and Logan Paul. Logan Paul is probably one of the most unrelatable human beings on planet Earth, but KSI just seems a lot more relatable. He's a lot more laid back, a lot more down to earth, and you could just tell like everything Logan does kind of seems like he's trying to put on a facade or, you know, trying to help his brand, while KSI is trying to be him. Whether you think it's cringe or not, you gotta give him that, right? Because sometimes he is cringe. However, you gotta admit he is being himself. I'm not the biggest KSI fan either, but I'm just saying I think that's what separates him and Logan, and why this face-to-face wasn't so cringe. I actually enjoyed this. I think whenever you take a face-to-face or something like this way too serious, I think that is when you lose, right? Like, and that's what happened with Logan Paul. Logan took it extremely serious, trying to come off cool, coming up with those movie catch lines.
Yeah, I took it out, but I never really lose, Dylan.
Both these guys were, you know, just saying their piece, and I thought Tommy held himself very well. I thought KSI held himself pretty decently well, but we're going to talk about it right now. I think one of the things that strikes me most about this face-to-face was Tommy Fury's confidence. Now, Tommy Fury seems always confident. In the lead up to the Jake Paul fight, I remember saying, I was like, dude, this guy seems confident as hell, and why shouldn't he be? He just beat Jake Paul, a guy that was talking shit about him for 3 years. Like, he just demolished him, and KSI appears to be the worst boxer. However, I have told you guys, and I am sticking by this opinion, that KSI is a harder matchup for Tommy Fury than Jake Paul. Now, does that mean that KSI is going to beat him? No, but I'm going to get into what my prediction is later on. And I thought KSI had some cool lines of his own, and I believe that KSI is also very confident going into this matchup, which helps him a lot, right? And this could just be delusion, which kind of happens if you're going to fight or spar or anything like that. Even if it's against easier guys, you're going to start building yourself up in your head. It just naturally happens. Sometimes, you know, you get a little too ahead of yourself. Jake, for example, was fighting a lot of these older MMA fighters, so he actually thought he could beat a boxer like Tommy Fury. However, as you can see, that didn't happen, and he got dominated, and that was a severe reality check for Jake Paul. And when you look at KSI, yes, we know as fans, look, that isn't the best competition, and Tommy Fury is a huge step up from those opponents that KSI fought in the past. But for KSI, you know, he's knocking these dudes out. I think he really believes his hype. I think he believes that he really hits hard. I think he believes genuinely that his style is really unorthodox, which it is, and KSI does appear to hit hard. But KSI was talking about, you know, him training at that gym with Michael Venn and Page, having that unique style, and that's going to beat Tommy Fury. I think it was a very smart approach to come up with a unique style to learn if you want to fight these pro boxers, because I mentioned this before about KSI, but to beat KSI, you're going to need a lot of experience, and Tommy Fury has a whole lot, which helps him a lot. But still, if KSI can come with an unorthodox style, I mean, Tommy Fury has been sparring for years. Yes, I mean, probably since he was a child, and that's why, in my opinion, Tommy Fury is a step above these influencers. It's because he has those natural reflexes, right? Those natural instincts, because he's used to seeing those punches come at him. But he's used to seeing boxers, right? Is he used to seeing a weirder style? That's going to be the question, right? Can KSI catch him? Because we've seen Tommy Fury get caught with overhands from Jake Paul, and it looks like that KSI hits harder than Jake Paul. And yeah, so I thought the face-to-face went very well. I liked it. The guys didn't shake hands, which I was surprised about. I don't know why there's so much beef into this main event. Like, I mean, I feel like there really isn't any beef. I feel like just more competitive beef going on. And I will say, I want to defend this being the main event. I know a lot of people are saying, hey, Logan Paul versus Dylan Dennis should be the main event. I think this should be the main event because, listen, yes, Logan Paul versus Dylan Dennis is probably the more hyped fight, if we're going to be honest. But when we're talking about what's at stake here, Tommy Fury and KSI is that. That's deciding who's the best. There's stakes on the line. If KSI wins, that's a pretty easy path to fight Jake Paul, and if Tommy Fury wins, it's a massive deal because he took out Jake Paul and KSI this year. So there's tons of stakes on the line. I think that deserves to be the main event, while that co-main event is also amazing, and I'm excited for that matchup. And yeah, I'm excited for this card. The card actually looks really nice, if I'm gonna be honest. Now, how does Tommy Fury win? How does KSI win? Like I said, KSI's path to victory is being unorthodox, being weird, being in that karate stance. I think KSI has to be a little more slick with his combinations. Like in the face temper fight, one of my favorite combinations that he threw was the shot that took him out, was that right hand down the middle, switch stance, had his left foot back, and threw that left hook so he got as much power. That is a very MMA type move. You don't really see it much in boxing, and those are just little things that his gym is teaching him to be a little bit different. You need to be different to beat Tommy Fury, right? Unless you have more experience than him, which KSI does not. He's not going to be the better boxer in there. We've seen him get caught from people like Temper, and even Joe Fournier was able to catch him. And yeah, KSI hits hard, so there's always a puncher's chance, but I think he's got to get Tommy Fury going backwards. You cannot go backwards if you're KSI, which KSI usually does not go backwards. I think if KSI went backwards, I think he would lose pretty easily. He's a guy that benefits very much from his aggression because that's kind of his defense, you know what I mean? So I think if he pushes back Tommy Fury, makes him uncomfortable, makes him second guess, gets him a little worried about the power that's coming at him, that could be a huge advantage for KSI, and maybe he can make Tommy panic a little and get KO'd. That's the plan if I'm KSI, you know, implement feints, you know, be weird, be unorthodox, you know. To me, I think KSI is banking on that puncher's chance, which can be dangerous because Tommy Fury is a bigger guy than KSI, and Jake Paul is a bigger guy than KSI, and he wasn't able to knock out Tommy Fury, which was a good point that Tommy Fury brought up in the face-to-face that I didn't even think about. Like, yes, we do say KSI hits harder, but to be fair, he is a smaller guy. Maybe he's just facing smaller competition. So I thought that was interesting, and for Tommy, obviously, I think you guys know the jab is going to be his best friend in this matchup. Keep the distance between you and KSI. Keep away from that right hand. Tommy Fury's talking like, you know, he doesn't want to just out-jab. He doesn't want to get a decision. He wants to brutalize KSI, knock him out, which is great for fight promotion. However, I don't think that this is going to be the case. I doubt it. We usually see Tommy Fury usually get these types of decisions, jab, and just outbox, right? When's the last time we saw Tommy Fury get a knockout? And I'm sure the guy that he got a knockout over had a losing record, so he's not exactly a knockout puncher. So I think he's gonna have to keep the jab, keep KSI away, keep that jab in his face because KSI is there to get hit. I wouldn't be surprised to see if Tommy Fury gets a knockdown, not because he hits hard or anything, but just because KSI gets so off balance in these fights. His footwork needs a lot of work. I think if you're gonna beat KSI, the game plan is very simple, yet it's hard to do. It's to push KSI backwards, right? It's to cut him off, get him going backwards, and once that happens, he loses a lot of talent and skill. So yeah, I think you gotta push him backwards, but for KSI, something that I think he should work on is he is really good at pressuring. He is good at making people go backwards. Tommy Fury is a guy that usually goes backwards in his fights anyway and can fight very good going backwards. That is also something to keep in mind. But I think KSI needs to work on his footwork, specifically trapping people, right? He'll follow his opponents instead of cutting them off. I made a whole video about this, about the FaZe Temper fight, where I broke down a lot of the things I think KSI should work on. I'm gonna put it in the corner or something like that so you guys can see. But yeah, that was all a video about me talking about all the things KSI needs to do to fix. And yeah, if he can actually successfully trap Tommy Fury and get him going on the back foot and not just follow him, that's going to be huge, you know? Keep in mind, Tommy Fury has more ring IQ, right? He's been in the boxing ring a lot more. Guy has higher boxing IQ. He has better reflexes. Tommy Fury has a lot of advantages, which is why at the end of the day, I can make all these excuses for KSI. Say, hey, KSI, you can do this. KSI, you can do that. At the end of the day, I think it's pretty simple. I think Tommy Fury is going to win. I'm going to say by decision. However, I do think that he can maybe knock out KSI because KSI is there to be hit. I know KSI says he has a really good chin, and I know KSI says he can't get knocked out, but everybody can get knocked out. Everybody has that button. There was a time where people said Tony Ferg isn't going to be knocked out. He got knocked out. I mean, everybody has a button that is going to get pushed, and you're going to get knocked out. And granted, KSI isn't a fighter that has taken a lot of damage, so I don't think it's going to be easy for him to knock out KSI, but Tommy Fury also hasn't taken a lot of damage, so I don't think that he's going to be easily knocked out either, which is something that hurts KSI a lot. I think KSI is going to try to go hard in the beginning, and I think as the rounds go by, I think we're going to see Tommy Fury pick up. This is a 6-round fight, which is a big deal. Maybe KSI can outdog him like he did to Logan Paul and get like a really close decision win, especially because this is his promotion, and we know that these aren't exactly like the main commission in Britain. Like, I know it's a pro fight technically, but it's not under the main commission that most boxing fights are under. So it is going to be a little bit worrying if it goes to a decision. I also saw the Eden Raw stream with KSI and Tommy Fury. That was so funny. Jake Paul popping in out of nowhere, and KSI honestly did pretty good against Jake Paul, to be honest. Like, he was talking shit about him, saying, hey, why didn't you fight me? I mean, to me, it really seemed like Jake Paul could have fought KSI in October. However, he picked the Nate Diaz fight. Now, does that mean he's ducking KSI? I really don't think so. I just think he'd rather fight Nate Diaz, which who wouldn't? Nate Diaz is the bigger star, at least in America, and maybe even worldwide. So I do get Jake Paul, you know, fighting Nate Diaz and then going after KSI, so I don't think he's ducking him. However, it is a fair point from KSI and something he could throw at Jake Paul. But guys, that's gonna wrap it up here. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Who do you think is going to win, KSI or Tommy Fury? I want to respond to you guys. I want to hear from you guys. Thank you guys for watching. You guys are the best fan base in MMA, and I'll see you guys in the next one.